Hello there guys, and welcome back to another epic inexorable maths video. In this video we're going to be talking about an interesting fact. There are exactly 10 factorial seconds in 6 weeks. Okay, so I think that's actually a very interesting fact, and we're going to show it, we're going to prove it in this video. So just for clarification, what does 10 factorial actually mean? So 10 factorial, we write that as 10 with an exclamation mark after it. And that is equal to 10 times every integer descending until we get to the number 1. Like this. Okay, 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. It's actually a very large number. Yeah, that is the number of seconds in 6 weeks, exactly. And that's quite an interesting fact, I think. So in general, I won't write it, but the pattern is the same for any other factorial if you're interested. So for example, 3 factorial would be 3 times 2 times 1, like that, which is just equal to 6, and so on and so forth. Okay, so all factorials work the same way. It's just the number with an exclamation mark and multiply that number by itself, and then every decreasing integer until you get to 1. Okay, so how do we actually prove that there are exactly 10 factorial seconds in 6 weeks? We do it like this. So let's consider 6 weeks. Okay, 6 weeks is obviously made of a certain number of weeks, days, hours, minutes, and seconds. We want the seconds, so let's actually go kind of backwards and start off with let's do an hour. Okay, so how many seconds are in 1 hour? Well, how many seconds are in 1 minute? 60. So I'm going to write this 1 hour. This is 60 seconds. That's 1 minute. But how many minutes are in an hour? Well, 60 as well. So it's 60 times 60 seconds, which that is 3,600, but I will keep it as 60 times 60 because we want to break this thing down. And I'll explain more on that in a second. So what about a day? 1 day. How many seconds are in 1 day? Well, it's the same as an hour, but it's times by 24 because there's 24 hours in a day. So it's 24 times an hour, which in seconds is 60 times 60. 60 times 60 seconds, 3,600 times 24. That's the number of seconds in 1 day. Okay, what about 1 week? How do we find the number of seconds in 1 week? Well, it's the number of seconds in 1 day, but times by 7. So it's 7 times 24 times 60 times 60. So it's just the 1 day, but 7 times bigger because there's 7 days in 1 week. Okay. All right then. And finally, what about 6 weeks? 6 weeks. In 6 weeks, there are 6 times the number of seconds that there are in 1 week. So it's 6 times 7 times 24 times 60 times 60. Now, if we can show that this number here is the same thing as 10 factorial, then we're done and we're finished. So we just need to show that that number there in the purple brackets is the same number as this one here. And if we can do that, as I say, we've shown it already and we're good. So how do we do that? The thing that we can do is you could just put it into a calculator and they would give you the same number. Like, yes, you can do that. But if you don't have a calculator at hand, I would say the fastest way to do this is to literally just make it look like 10 factorial. Make this number here look like 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Make it look like that. So we've already got a 6. We've already got a 7. And we've also got all of this. So if we can break this part up into some more numbers, then we can quite easily show that this thing's equal to 10 factorial. So I will write 6 weeks as being equal to 6 times 7, and then in some big brackets, I'm going to write the rest of it, 24 times 60 times 60, okay? And every time we pull out a integer that is between 1 and 10, I'll take it outside of the square brackets. So 6 and 7, we've already got the 6 and the 7. We're looking for all of the other numbers as well. So again, I'm going to rewrite this thing. 6 times 7, we're not ever going to change those. But now we can break up the 24, the 60, and the 60. So what is 24? Well, you can write 24 as 2 times 12. But what is 12? 3 times 4. So 24 can be written as 2 times 3 times 4. Because this part makes the 12, and then you have a 2 here. So you end up with 2 times 12, which is 24. But we still need to times by 60, and then by 60 again, because that's those two guys here. And I'm going to put that there. But look at that, guys. Now we've already got a 2, a 3, and a 4 that we can pull out of this big square bracket. So I'm going to say that 6 weeks is now equal to 2 times 3 times 4 times 6 times 7 times, and then the rest of what was inside this bracket, which is 60 times 60, just like that. Okay, so all I've done is I've pulled the 2, the 3, and the 4 outside of the big bracket, put them on the other side, so it's quite easy to see what's going on, hopefully. So the next step is we need to consider breaking up 60 times 60. So this is equal to 2 times 3 times 4 times 6 times 7 times, and then 60 times 60. Well, we can write that as 6 times 10. 60 is 6 times 10. And so we can do that. So 6 times 10 and times 6 times 10 again, because it's 60 times 60. So that 2 60s timesing together there. And that's that. And that is equal to 2 times 3 times 4 times 6 times 7 times. And then let's see what else we can do here. Well, 10 is 5 times 2. So we can write this as 6 times 5 times 2, if we want to. And I'm going to actually leave the 6, this 6 times 10, how it is. Because I'm actually seeing that we have a couple of numbers now that we can take out. So this is equal to 2 times 3 times 4 times, but look here, there's a 5. There's our 5. So now I'm going to bring the 5 out, times 5, times 6, times 7. So this 5 disappears, it's gone. But also we have, we've got the 6, the 2, the 6. We can break those up even more. But there's actually a 10 as well on the end, isn't there? Like this guy here. So then we can times by everything that's left, which was 6 times 2 times 6. Just like that, okay? So we've got the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 10. So we're still looking for the 8 and the 9. But guys, this is the brilliance. 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7 times 10 times, that should look like a times, by the way. Well, hold on. What's 6 times 2 times 6? Well, 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 times 6 is 72. So this is 72. But we can rewrite 72 as a different number. What is 72? 72 is 8 times 9, isn't it? So we can then say that 6 weeks is equal to 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7. I'm going to put the 8 and the 9 together here, so times 8 and times 9. Move those guys over. And then finally we're going to times by the 10, which came from there. And that's it, guys. And this is obviously the same as 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7 times 8 times 9 times 10. Like, we're just timesing it by 1, but now it's very clear to see that this thing is indeed equal to 10 factorial. So we can then say that 6 weeks is equal to 10 factorial seconds. Because remember, we've been in seconds the whole time. So this is 10 factorial seconds, and that is a proof. So we can do our little black box, or we can write QED, or whatever you like. We can do it all. And that is the proof that 6 weeks is exactly equal to 10 factorial seconds.